Dan Witz's art has been shaped as much by the New York Police Department as by his own artistic flair.
That's been the biggest outside influence on me, is the need to develop to avoid getting caught.
Of course, that's what happens when your canvas is public property.
I started out painting on the street, and eventually the police wouldn't let you do that anymore. You'd get arrested and fined and brought to jail and all that. So what's really inspired me is the need to evade the police. So every couple years the pressure gets worse, so I need to change my approach. And that's been very inspiring because I keep on having to change my media and my technique.
Dan came to New York for a fine arts degree, but he found his inspiration in the streets.
When I first saw the trains and the stations, this is in the late 70s, it was a complete revelation to me that art could have that kind of impact. It could come from underground in that way. And it just blew me away. It cracked me open, and it helped me to see that art could be something other than objects in a museum or a gallery.
Dan always keeps his spectators pondering. In the height of the graffiti wave, when tags enveloped subway trains, he went for something even more daring.
I painted these little tiny hummingbirds, colorful, expressionistic, on urban, decayed, marginalized settings. It's a contrast thing, dissonant contrast, right? Which is what I've been doing ever since, is using a sort of collision type situation to make my impact.
Of course, his art isn't all hummingbirds and lollipops. His latest series is an all too realistic line of installation.
I use all my illusionistic training to make them look like there's really a person behind there. So it's not a flat image. So the idea is when someone is driving by at 2 miles an hour and they look over and see this door with this guy behind it, they go, "What the was that?" And then they're gone. But for a moment, they're shocked to the what the moment. And that's the name of the whole series of these pieces, is WTF.
It takes anywhere from a few days to a few weeks to complete a door. But all too often, Dan's work gets torn down by fans or police. So he's had to get more creative with his installations.
I anchor them in the cement. They're very hard to, get out. Also, where I put them, people wouldn't normally be. I dress up like a highway guy and, do them by the side of the road where people usually don't get out of their cars. It's all weatherproof digital media. They will last 10 years outside if they're unmolested.
After 3 decades of public painting, he's managed to stay out of jail and also had showings in New York, London, Los Angeles, and Paris. His work has appeared in Time, Arts Magazine, and a half-dozen New York newspapers.
I do okay. I show in galleries, I sell prints, I do various things, and I support myself, but I've never hit the big time with the collectors and all that stuff, which has been a good thing for me because it keeps me kind of lean and mean. Maybe in the beginning I was probably trying to adjust myself to what I thought the art world wanted. Not to sell my soul, but to, adjust it to the point where I could, make stuff that rich people would buy and, support me. But I was never good at kissing ass and, laughing at people's jokes that I didn't think were funny and stuff you had to do to be an artist, go to dinner parties and seduce collectors and stuff like that.
Instead, Dan has found his supporters online.
It's like a change in the way people look at art. It doesn't depend on galleries and curators and these networks of people who know each other and this sort of inside trading thing. It's all about people on the internet seeing what they like and, voting with their clicks on YouTube.
He's not a complete social outcast. Dan's been featured in respected art mags like Juxtapose, Idol, and New York Magazine. He's certainly not anonymous in the art world anymore. He just doesn't want the police to know his name.
I love doing street art because of the adrenaline, because of the strategy. If they'd left us alone to do what we wanted, I probably would have gotten bored years ago.